Hello, and welcome to A Senior Moment. Quick info on the issues facing older adults today. My guest today is Sean Connolly. He's an older adult behavioral health specialist and a certified positive approach to care trainer. Today he'll be sharing with us 10 steps for brain resilience. Sean, welcome to the program. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. Before we get into the tips on brain resilience, I really want to just kind of set the stage real quick and talk about how we all age differently and how our bodies and our brains age depends on a lot of different factors. Things like genetics, your overall health, life experiences, and social factors can have an effect on how we age. Mostly these things are out of our control. However, there are many different choices that we can make every day to start taking charge and care of our health and our brains. So another thing I want to have people keep in mind is what normal aging looks like. So there are some things that are going to happen in our brains as we age that are just normal parts of a healthy, functioning human. And one of those things is kind of depressing, but after the age of 25, our brains lose about 0.5% to 1% of our ability to compute data every year. So you notice as people get into middle age and later middle age that things start to slow down a little bit. It gets a little harder to find words. Kind of the speed limit of our brains slows down a little bit. The information's still there, so like you go into your brain and find the file cabinet that has a person's name in it, and you look through the file cabinet and you eventually land on the name that you're looking for, but it might take you a little bit longer to sort through some of those names in the filing cabinet. And that's totally normal, that's totally part of a healthy brain. The thing that people get freaked out about is cognitive decline. And when we think about cognitive decline, we're usually talking about things like dementia. And cognitive decline is not part of normal aging. So if you are experiencing some cognitive decline, it's very, very important to go see your doctor. There's lots of different cognitive tests that they can do for you that are really easy. And Medicare will cover those tests. Things like a mini-cog or a MoCA or a SLUMS are great examples of different kinds of cognitive tests that people can get at their doctor's offices. One other thing that I want people to bear in mind is that, especially with all the changes that happen later in life, from retirement to health changes to living situation changes to financial changes, there's so many different transitions that happen in a person's life as they age that it can be very stressful at certain points. But overall, people as they age tend to report feeling better about their lives. People are happier as they age. People get less depressed or less blue as they age. But it's definitely perfectly normal to feel occasional feelings of stress, short bouts of depression based on these different things that are happening. But the thing you want to watch out for are, when someone has the blues for a really long period of time and they're starting to lose interest in the things that they normally found enjoyable and pleasurable. Those are the things you want to watch out for. But it's totally normal to have different periods of your life that are more stressful than others. The first step that I want to share with you is moving your body. Exercise is one of the best things you can do to take care of your brain and your heart and your body and your mental health. So it's one of the best things you can do overall for your health. And growing evidence shows that there's a strong link between exercise and a reduced risk of cognitive decline. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to run a marathon or do CrossFit or do something crazy. What the exercise that I'm talking about is simple things like taking walks on a regular basis, walking your dog. Tai Chi is great for a lot of different things, and it's not vigorous movement. It's just controlled, actual movement of your body. And Tai Chi is also really good for your balance as well. If you do office work still, you might take the stairs instead of the elevator, things like that. Easy, simple things that you can do that aren't super rigorous on your body, and they're easy to incorporate into most people's schedules. So moving your body is the first tip, and any sort of exercise that you can get. And start small. If you're a person that's never exercised or you have a chronic condition that keeps you from doing a lot of things, set small goals. Set things like walking to the mailbox and back twice this week, and then move that up to walking to the end of the street and back twice this week, and just sort of set small achievable goals for yourself and build upon those successes. And you'll find that you can do more and more as you do more and more exercising. Number 2 is remember your breath. Smoking is one of the things that can raise your risk for many different chronic conditions, and people who smoke cigarettes are at a higher risk for cognitive decline than those who don't. So making sure that your breath brings oxygen to your blood, which in turn brings oxygen to your brain. So any way that you're hampering that oxygen getting to your brain is going to be a challenge especially as you move later into life when your brain needs more oxygen to function. So keeping your breath in mind and quitting smoking if you can. There's lots of different options for folks to quit smoking if you've never tried it before. Step number 3 is to challenge your mind. So a lot of folks think that when you're aging, I'm going to do crossword puzzles and that's going to help keep my brain resilient, help keep me from getting dementia, it'll keep me sharp. And that's great as long as you've never done crossword puzzles before. If you do crossword puzzles a lot, basically all doing more of them does is help you get better at crossword puzzles. It doesn't necessarily do anything for your brain resilience. And so what you really want to focus on are things that challenge your mind and give you what's called a cognitive reserve, kind of an extra layer of integrity to your brain to keep it from declining. So you want to engage in lifelong learning, take different classes as you age, learn to play new games. So like I said, crossword puzzles are great if you've never done crossword puzzles, but maybe switch it up, do Sudoku or learn a new card game or read different books. Traveling is a great way to keep your brain resilient because you're constantly learning new things. You're learning different languages, or you might be learning different layouts of a city, different rules for driving or what have you. So anything that will really challenge your brain in a different way will be good at helping you maintain brain resilience. But again, it has to be challenging. It can't be something repetitious that you do all the time. The 4th step that I have is to take care of your heart. Like I talked about earlier, your breath puts oxygen in your blood, which then your heart pumps to your brain. So taking care of your heart is totally beneficial for your brain because it's the thing that's going to supply your brain with food. And your cardiovascular disease increases your risk for Alzheimer's and stroke. So you really want to get regular checkups to make sure that your heart is in good condition, make sure you're taking any prescribed medications that you have for your heart, and manage your blood pressure. Number 5, healthy eating. Eating a balanced diet, which is low in sugar and salt and high in whole fresh foods, can support good brain health. The Alzheimer's Association recommends that people do the Mediterranean diet, which includes lots of fresh fish, nuts, fruits, and things like that. There's also something called the DASH diet, which is low in salt and sugar. So it's really no secret that eating well is good for you, but it's also good for your brain too. The 6th thing I want to talk about is sleep hygiene. And getting enough sleep is paramount to letting your brain recharge and repair. So sleep hygiene is basically just setting yourself up to have a routine for sleep. So going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning, regardless of whether it's a weekend or a holiday. You want to make sure that you turn off screens well before you go to bed, because those can the blue light can impact your brain in negative ways. Getting physical activity every day so that you're a little more tired, and kind of setting up your room and your environment to make sure it's only a place where you go to sleep. Number 7 is to take care of your mental health. Depression is a major risk factor for dementia, so you really want to talk to your healthcare providers about getting treatment. Definitely talk to a therapist or a counselor or even a psychiatrist. You can start with your primary care provider if you want to, but it's kind of like asking an auto mechanic to repair your boat. They can figure it out, but it's not their specialty. So really go and see a therapist or a counselor when you're talking about taking care of your mental health. The 8th tip is getting social. Social isolation can be as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and you can have twice as poor health outcomes as someone who is obese. So it's really important to stay connected with people, join clubs, go to the library, or if you can't do any of those things, there are phone lines that you can call, loneliness lines, peer outreach lines, and things like that, where you can have kind of a friendly chat with people. The 9th tip has to do with your medicine cabinet. Nearly 30% of older adults take 5 drugs or more on a given day, and polypharmacy is common in older adults and can sometimes lead to unnecessary medications. You basically end up chasing side effects when you're taking more than a few medications at a time. So talk with your doctor, go over your medications, and see which ones you may be able to stop taking. And finally, number 10. Find your calm, find your happy place. Anxiety and long-term stress can lead to physical health problems, which can affect your cognitive function. So it's really important to follow strategies that reduce anxiety. So you might take a class on mindfulness or meditation. Walking in nature, even looking at a picture of nature, can reduce people's stress. And ask for help, especially if you're a caregiver. Asking for help to help you get through whatever it is that you're going through, whether it be physical help, like somebody to help you do certain tasks, or help from a professional. Make sure you're asking for that. And get creative. Use art, music, or dance to help you work through some of your stressful moments in life. This has been a Senior Moment with our guest, Sean Connolly. Thanks for watching, and look out for more senior moments to come in the future.